One of the most notable and magnificent architectural achievements in the history of the world is the Colosseum in Rome. Emperor Titus inaugurated the arena in the year 80 CE, where gladiator fights, animal encounters, and even mock naval battles with real boats were staged. Every aspect of this magnificent design was carefully considered by the talented architects who created it. And in today's video, we are going to talk just about this ironically lively amphitheater of death, presenting to you how the Roman Colosseum was built. But before we start, remember to subscribe to our channel and stay tuned till the end for some quick trivia. Let's begin. Emperor Nero erected a residence for himself in 64 CE, which he modestly called the Golden Palace. Nero was corrupt. As you might imagine, taking property from numerous common Romans in order to clear the land needed for construction wasn't a very popular decision. The empire quickly went through 4 more corrupt emperors after Nero's death, until Vespasian took over in 69 CE. Vespasian led a more austere lifestyle and zealously fought for Rome's citizens, in an effort to undo the harm Nero and his successors had done. He rebuilt the people's faith in the government. Vespasian pledged to construct a public amphitheater where gladiator contests would take place around 70 CE. And as a political statement, he decided to erect this arena directly over Nero's Golden Palace. The Colosseum was inaugurated by Vespasian's son, Emperor Titus, in 80 CE. It took a total of 10 years to complete the construction. 100 days of games were played during the festival that marked the venue's opening. Vespasian made the decision to have the Colosseum built where a lake once stood in the garden of Nero's Golden Palace. To divert rivers and streams that flowed from the nearby hills, a drainage system 26 feet below the surface was constructed. Additionally, it would necessitate deeper concrete foundations for the Colosseum in order to prevent collapse. So, the dirt that was removed from the ground to make room for the substantial foundation was used again to reclaim the area around the building. These reasons contributed to the Colosseum's 23-foot elevation above the ground. Due to this, people were forced to look up at the structure rather than down at it. Today, the Colosseum is level with the ground because of the modern-day changes to the landscape. The travertine stone blocks used during the Colosseum's construction were mined in a location called Albulae, close to where the town of Tivoli exists today. The distance between the quarry and the Colosseum site was about 20 miles away, so transporting the blocks to the location would not be simple. The Romans then constructed a road specifically to help things along in order to transport the stone from the quarry to the building site. There were about 30 to 50 stones per cartload. Additionally, historians believe that workers would have transported approximately 240,000 carts, and approximately 20 to 30,000 individuals were involved in the building process. Isn't that huge? Also, a large percentage of these workers were slaves. The use of concrete to construct bigger and more durable structures than ever before was pioneered by the Roman Empire. Concrete was used to construct the Colosseum's foundation, vaults, and arches, allowing the enormous structure to remain structurally sound while still maintaining an open and airy atmosphere. The foundation is 42 feet deep at its lowest point and gets shallower as it moves inside. It was laid out in concentric circles moving inward toward the arena from the outer wall. Roman cement was typically made by heating limestone to produce quicklime. The quicklime was then dissolved in water to produce a putty that served as a cement binder. The Colosseum's unidentified architect aimed for a 5:3 ratio in the building's dimensions because it was deemed ideal at that time. But in fact, the arena's final dimensions ended up being 280 by 168 feet, with the auditorium's width matching the Colosseum's height. The amphitheater's perimeter had to be precise due to the Colosseum's arches. There were 88 entrance arches, each of which had to be 20 Roman feet wide and separated from the others by 3 Roman feet. For the record, a Roman foot could range in size, but generally speaking it was about 11.5 inches. The first part of the Colosseum to be built was its arches. The travertine stone arches allowed the construction crew to begin work on both the bottom and top of the building. The upper seating, wooden portico, and walls on the top 2 floors of the amphitheater were, in fact, constructed at the same time as the lower part of the structure. The Romans were able to build the Colosseum in less than 10 years, thanks to their innovative construction strategy, an absolutely astounding feat for the time. The seats closest to the stage were nearly 7 feet higher for the safety of the spectators in the front rows. To further deter wild animals, a fence was built around the ring. These seats, which were made of marble and travertine, were also the most lavishly decorated. Frequently, the ceilings also featured elaborate artwork. However, as in many contemporary sports arenas, the seating would get less opulent and comfortable as spectators climbed higher up in the stands. With the exception of those in the front rows, everyone would be crammed close together with perhaps 1 foot of personal space. The Colosseum needed a sewer system to remove human and animal waste. The latrines, also known as public restrooms, consisted of a line of holes dug in the ground over a pipe that carried flowing water. They were simple yet effective. The pipe would then discharge into a drain that was attached to the Cloaca Maxima, the primary sewer for the city. The cistern situated to the sides of the Colosseum, which drew water from the Aqua Claudia aqueduct, also provided fresh water to the spectators as part of this system. The construction of lead and terracotta tunnels in the Colosseum's walls allowed for this delivery. On the stairs of the Colosseum, there were marble and iron partitions. Although historians are divided on their purpose, some think that it was to keep spectators divided into their appropriate socioeconomic classes. This interpretation is supported by the fact that a 16-foot-high wall separated the poorest audience members from the rest of the spectators in the Colosseum's highest seating area. Women and the poor were likely to sit in this seating at the top of the arena, more than 300 feet from the stage. Quick trivia. One of the Colosseum's coolest features was its capacity to fill with a few feet of water, allowing sailors to stage mock naval battles in toy boats. However, the transformation was not simple. Workers had to take out the wooden supports and floor of the amphitheatre in order to build the aquatic arena. The aqueduct transported water would then fill the arena. The Colosseum would be drained via a network of runoff canals once everything was finished. But over time, these naval battles lost their appeal. Eventually, masonry walls took the place of the wooden supports, eliminating the possibility of flooding the floor and having naval battles there. The Hypogeum, a space beneath the Colosseum that served a number of functions, is another example. Hypogeum is Greek for underground. Its walls feature several oddly carved sections. Architect Heinz-Jürgen Best found odd diagonal indentations near some of the arena's entrances, and tracks in the walls of the Hypogeum's hallways in the late 1990s. The tracks were probably used to transport animal cages through the Hypogeum during events, and the ramps that would guide the animals into the arena. The heavy animal cages could be lifted using the 4 rotating arms of the capstans from the Hypogeum to the arena floor. None of the luxuries that the audience took for granted were available to the laborers who worked in the Hypogeum. The poorly ventilated Hypogeum was scorching hot in the summer, and it got chilly and wet during the winter. The confined area was home to machinery, wild animals, and a large number of shouting people. The Colosseum had a huge cloth awning called vela that could be raised over the structure to shade spectators on those hot summer days. In light of this, the Colosseum employed actual Roman naval personnel to lift and secure the awning over the crowd. The sailors regarded the job as a privilege because it would allow them to visit a big city, which most of them had never had the chance to do. The majority of the young men and boys who served as sailors in the Roman Navy were taken as slaves from various nations that Rome had conquered. After almost 15 to 30 years of service, they would receive their freedom and citizenship in Rome. And you thought having student loans was difficult. We hope you enjoyed today's video. What impressed you the most about the Colosseum? Let us know in the comment section below. Remember to subscribe to our channel and share the video with your friends. See you in our next video. Till then, take care.